Hello, welcome back to the channel. I am the Disc Golf Nerd. Welcome to my quick review of the Discraft First Run CICADA, new fairway driver on the market from Discraft. No sponsor to thank in this video. I bought this disc with my own money, but I did want to let you guys know you can help support me by checking all the coupon codes and links in the description below. Or you can check out the 2024 Disc Golf Nerd Defiant, my signature disc, 3D printed by NSH Custom Discs. Super fun disc to throw. Lots more information about those on the channel, or ask any questions if you have them. And let's take a look at the Discraft First Run CICADA. First of all, this plastic is very, very firm. That's the first thing I noticed when I picked it up. To my eye, and in terms of the way this feels, this is exactly what crystal plastic is to me. Like, back in the day, I threw some crystal buzzes, crystal stalkers, etc. And this is exactly what I would expect from crystal plastic, but it's just regular Z at this point. It's extremely translucent, and sometimes it feels like it has a pretty good grip. Like if my hands are kind of have like a certain level of moisture on them, it grips pretty well, but overall it's a little bit more of a slippery feel, and yeah, very firm, very low flexibility. This particular disc is max weight, 173 to 174. I think it actually scaled as heavier than that. Little quick tip for the kind of newer players to the game: just because a disc is marked a certain weight does not necessarily mean that's accurate. A lot of times it's not, and oftentimes if you find discs that are marked as max weight, or 173, 174 should be about max weight for this disc. Oftentimes they're overweight as well, so something to keep in mind. If you have a good local shop, they might have a scale. That's the only reason I know that this one was a bit overweight. It's because I picked it up at Disc Golf Depot, and they have a scale there at the shop that you can double check the weights. And it's pretty surprising how common it is for them to be incorrect. Flight numbers in the Z plastic first run disc: 7.6, -1, and 1. And then Discraft's pretty irrelevant single-digit flight number there. I think obviously the 7's fine. I think the glide is generous. I think this is another case of Discraft kind of setting the flight numbers for what they want you to believe about the disc. More as like a kind of extra marketing tool to say, oh, I want you to think it's a nice glidey fairway driver, so we're going to kind of exaggerate that glide number. I'd probably just go 7, 5, -1, and then I'd probably go with a 2 for fade. It does have a little bit of hookup to it, especially at my arm speed and the angles that I throw it on, but that's somewhat subjective, I guess, depending on who you are. But me and Andy saw fade on this thing most of the time, unless it was kind of turned over or anything like that, but tended to fade out at the end of the flight. Let's take a look at it next to a couple other options. Now, I don't have a ton of flight footage this video for you guys, so we're just going to take a look at what we got, but we do throw it a decent amount. It's just tough when I only have one to get as much footage as I've been trying to in my more recent videos. Okay, Jester Discs Dreamweaver 7.5, -1, and I believe they're trying to say it's 1.5 or so, kind of in between 1 and 2. I think those would be better, more accurate flight numbers for the CICADA as well, but the Dreamweaver, a little bit smaller rim, and it's more rounded, and maybe feels like a hair deeper in the hand because of that. It's hard to say. The domes are pretty similar, maybe a bit more dome on this particular Dreamweaver, but they're going to vary in the plastics. Dreamweavers are really nice, good flyers that have every bit as much glide as the CICADA, if not a hair more, kind of depending on the thrower and the conditions and stuff. But there's a quick look at it next to the Dreamweaver from Jester Discs. And then we also have, just because it's brand new on the market, actually, I believe the Kickstarter for this, Luft Discs Titanium, starts this week. So I figured I'd grab this one out. Also, very similar flight numbers. It's funny, 7.5, -2.1. And this one, also very similar, probably pretty damn close to the Dreamweaver. You can see the CICADA has a little bit more of an old school, kind of just that little bit sharper angles to the outside rim than the Dreamweaver or the Luft Discs Titanium. Quick side-by-sides there. Overall, feel isn't my favorite. The design is fine, but I'm not a big fan of the super rigid, crystally type plastics. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Looks great out there on the course. I threw it into a really, really terrible spot, and I was able to find it out of a nasty briar patch. So it's got some really good light gathering capability and a nice high contrast, high vis look to it. But it's going to be kind of personal preference whether or not you like the super firm feel of this disc. All right, so let's take a look at the rest of the footage here, talk about the flight of this particular disc based on our testing. Nothing terribly remarkable, kind of just a standard 7-speed, kind of straight flying fairway driver. Really nothing you couldn't find a number of different other places. Doesn't really do anything in terms of feel or flight that you can't find in a lot of other options. But if you're a Discraft thrower looking for a solid, straight flying, kind of all-arounder fairway drivers, could be a good option for you. For bigger power players, I'm sure it was going to fly a little bit more understable than it will for me. Andy found it somewhat understable. Like he threw it on hyzer a lot and kind of hyzer flipped it up, but it did have some decent fade at the end of the flight, kind of for both of us, depending on how much height we gave it and how much time we gave it to fly and everything like that. So not a disc we had any problems with, and not a disc I would like say anything bad about per se, but also not anything terribly remarkable or interesting or really anything that's overly noteworthy about the disc. Kind of just an all-arounder, 7-speed, decent glide, has some flip up to it, and it did have a bit of fade when it slows down for our arm speed and our throwing styles. That's pretty much my review on the Cicada. Thank you very much for watching. I wanted to get some kind of video posted with this thing since I had it in the inventory, even though we didn't get the most footage with it. Like I said, I only had one to throw, so it makes it that much harder. When I'm out there with 2 or 3 of a disc, like I can just compile way more footage and get a better feel for it overall. But based on our independent testing of this individual disc, that is my review on the Cicada from Discraft. Thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you to Disc Golf Nerd Patreon support team. Anyone who's used my coupon codes for Upper Park, NSH. Anyone who has bought a Disc Golf Nerd Defiant, whether the original version or this new super high vis 2024 colorway. I appreciate you all, and I will talk to you very soon. Cheers.
Funny enough, those only come out once every 17 years. Alright everyone, we're here on the hunt for the elusive cicada, usually found in its home territory, brambles like this. This brave man circling his prey. He's gone forever. R.I.P. Disc Golf Nerd. All this for a stock disc from Discraft. Good luck. Godspeed. We'll let you know if we find him. If not, well, this is the end of the channel.